The Grow My Cleaning Company podcast helps owners of cleaning companies just like you to grow your company and yourself so you can make more money and finally get the time and money freedom that probably got you into this business. Discover how to automate and create systems that allow you to grow like crazy without losing control. If you dig the show and want to show some love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It really helps. Enjoy the show.
Second question, I want to take on only residential houses. Do I drop my Airbnb clients or can I incorporate them? It's a really good question. So the easy answer that you can do right now that really is kind of non-debatable is just to stop taking new Airbnb clients. So, and this goes for anyone trying to switch niches, right? Like this is not just for Carlos, this concept goes exactly the same. So the first and foremost thing is I'm done taking new clients, and that's really important. Part of the value of the niche is so we don't, every time a job comes in, trying to make a decision of how do I respond, right? Like if you've decided in your life, I don't lie or cheat or steal, right? You don't have to, every time an opportunity to be shady comes up, you don't have to be like, well, this is a lot of money, but the risk to get caught's a little high. And I really like, I don't want to steal from Daniel, but if it was, Izzy, I'd steal from her. Like we don't have to go through any of that matrix. It's just, oh, I don't lie, cheat or steal, right? So same thing with the niche. We don't want to go, well, but Daniel's got this and he said he's got a bunch of them, and every freaking time it just wastes time. If we just decide, here's my clients, when we get those reds coming in, it's very easy just to be like, I don't do that. So we're thinking and making decisions once, and that way we don't have to make decisions every time when some shiny object comes along. But this is the good Airbnb. But if we've decided we're not going to do Airbnbs, we don't do them. And I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying if they're not your niche, they aren't your niche. I get lots of opportunities of people like, hey, will you speak on my stage? Will you give me this coaching, blah, blah, blah. Do you own a cleaning company? Or is this an audience of cleaning companies? If the answer is no, the answer is no. Period. So we want you to make that decision once. Okay. In terms of how to, I don't say get rid of, but transition out of your Airbnbs. I'm a Band-Aid ripper. So the right answer is always, once you've made your niche, stop accepting new people out of your niche in the red zone. Only take yellows and greens. That's the right answer. Now I'm going to kind of give you some options of how you transition out, and you get to pick which makes sense. And my job is to give you the good and the bad about each. I personally am a Band-Aid ripper. I'm probably going to, at the minimum, raise prices on everybody. So if they stay, I'm like, well, I'm not going to, even a new person, I wouldn't take at this price, but you already are here. And at that price, I will be in Airbnb just for another couple months or whatever. That would be the least aggressive I would do. Most aggressive, and it just depends on how much I enjoy them or how big of a pain in my ass they are. Pardon my language. So most aggressive would just be like, hey, we're going a different direction. I'm going to give you 30 days, or obviously give them a fair amount to find another person, even if you could find someone to turn it over to. So it makes it easier on them. Like do the right thing as you transition out. So that would be my most aggressive. My least aggressive would be to raise prices substantially. So it's like, well, my regular stuff's a 45% cost of goods sold. These guys all got to be 35 or 40. And if they're like, well, I'm not doing that, I quit. You're like, problem solved. Okie dokie.
Yeah.
So I'd go somewhere in there depending on and for me, it always goes on. There's been times in my life where I needed cash more or money, and there's times I've needed less. If I was in a time where I didn't need it as much, I'm probably going to be more aggressive on getting rid of them. If I'm like, hey man, I got bills to pay and I need money, then I'm going to let that slide a little bit longer.
Yeah. I'm sorry. May I?
No, I was literally going to say, is that a good framework? So I was turning over to you. Go ahead.
Yeah, it is. I mean, of course, thankfully, money is not a major issue, but of course, I need that cash flow so that I can make sure I pay it, rent, food, gas, blah blah blah. So, but if I were to lose the Airbnb clients, that would still be okay. Yeah, because they're very minimal in terms of making a profit for me.
Yeah, I'd probably then again, there's not the right answer. I'll give you two options. You pick the one that you think suits your situation best. Well, I mean, the right answer is don't take any new ones. Yeah. The marginal answer is, are you going to fire them or are you going to raise prices? If you're like, hey, I could use some cash, I just raise prices and let it work itself out. Good news is you're small enough. It's much easier. We help guys that are doing $100,000 a month and they're trying to cut off $30,000 a month of work. That takes a little more finesse at your level. You can be a little more brazen of like, there's good and slightly better. And if you pick good or slightly better, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to do one and be like, oh my God, what have I done? So the stakes are low enough where I can be a little cavalier and like, pick the one you like, brother. You're good. You're going to be okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Again, it's harder you got a big ship. You want to turn it. It's hard. You got a little ship. You can kind of move on a dime.
Yeah. Because so it does sound like, Mike, that Airbnb, so these short-term rent or these very quick short-term rentals are definitely not the same as just residential clients, even though they're both houses.
Completely not. They're like a hybrid. They're completely not. So if I was going to start a residential cleaning company today, I would literally only take every other week or weekly recurring residential. That's it. From day one, would never even consider anything else, period, end of sentence.
So even once a month either, correct?
No, I wouldn't personally. And again, I'm not saying, so I'll always be like, everything that's in the training and the system is kind of, this is generally going to work for all people in all circumstances. And I can coach you to do it. How I would do it is not how I'm saying you should all do it, or it's the only way. Like low cost of goods sold, good core values match. That is the right way. There's no real argument about that. How I would choose to do it is more just insight to how I think. And you might take that and like it, or you might take it, not like it. Totally okay. So yeah, if I were in your shoes, I'd probably, because why not? As long as our core values match. If they're just a-holes and they're making your life miserable, I'm parting friends. There's no amount of money I'm gonna deal with that. But if they're nice people and it's okay, they're just more pain in the butt than I want going forward, probably just gonna raise their prices and let it work itself out. Okay, cool. And you had a couple others here I want to get. How do I make my transition out of commercial cleaning without losing too much of my profit? I'm in the beginning stage. Same answer. I think we're on the same. They're half the revenue, but they average the worst on cost of goods sold. So believe it or not, guys, gals, I would be much more interested in getting, if I'm in your shoes, Carlos, I'm much more interested in getting out of commercial than I am Airbnb. Not because if I was going to start a business, it'd probably be commercial. So please don't hear me saying I'm anti-commercial, but I'm saying Airbnb along with residential, they're similar enough, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, generally. You got some weekends, but they're still 8 to 5. They're similar enough. It's not ideal, but I'll tolerate it. Commercial and residential, and now I'm working 24/7. It's especially how little you are. You have so little resources and time and focus. They're very precious to you. So the more clients you try and serve, the worse. So I would prioritize getting rid of commercial first. And same thing, if they're so low margin. And everybody, guys, gals, it's so common to look at the top line revenue and kind of base our value of our company around that. That has nothing to do with nothing. Again, if I used a car, I had a car dealership. If I had one Ferrari that I bought for $10 million and I sold it that year for $10 million, technically I have a $10 million business. And I could tell all my friends and feel very good at parties. I've got an 8-figure business going on here. God forbid they ask me about profit, because there ain't none, right? Or if I bought 6 Honda Accords for $20,000 and sold them for $25,000. Well, $5,000 times 6 units, that's $30,000 of gross profit. So technically, I've only got a little 100,000. That's nothing. Like at a cocktail party, it's not going to sound cool. But that $30,000 in my pocket feels a lot different than the $0 in my pocket. So that's why I only want you guys looking at gross profit. Sales means nothing, because all your payroll is just trade. It's like sales tax, right? Like there's no profit in that. I'm just collecting. And by the way, on services in like 48 states, there's no sales tax. I think there's 2 states where you have to pay sales tax. But when it's 100% cost of goods sold, right? Like, or tips, like that's not income. You just take it and you move it out. So if that's what you're doing with like commercial, you're like, hey, I get $1,000 in, but $800 of it's payroll. You don't have $1,000 job. You got a $200 job, and you still have to pay expenses of that before you take profit. So I'm okay. It's like, oh my God, I lost $1,000 job. It's like, no, you didn't. If there's only $200 of margin and you have expenses associated with that, you really lost nothing. So I would absolutely raise prices on the commercial first and foremost. Hopefully most of them go away, or they're so freaking profitable, like I'll tolerate it for another 2 or 3 or 4 months. Then I would raise prices on the Airbnb, and I would absolutely not accept any of those going forward.
Okay.
Hey, amazing people, you may have noticed we don't sell a dadgum thing on this podcast. We don't allow ads. The only ask I can ever have of you guys is if you dig the show, for you to spread the word and share so we can change as many lives as possible. Literally, it'll take you 5 seconds to give us a great review, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate you as a listener and value the gift of your kind words. Now, back to the show.
All right, let me get back to your questions, because I want to make sure I get you everything that you need here, buddy. Okay, so I think hopefully you feel they're good. Okay, the hours I work during the day, including you're not enough to make profit. Yeah, so, but I don't know how to get more clients for the future and how to prioritize, say no to new clients. So we're not going to say, okay, we never say no. Okay, for everybody out there, my favorite thing is when clients come in with a waiting list, because the first thing we do, and I'm not knocking you guys, but as soon as I explain it to you, you're like, oh my God, that was so dumb. All we're doing with the waiting list is prioritizing time over history over money. So let's say all of you guys are my clients except for Katie Knight, and I can't take any more. I got room for no people. And all of you guys pay $1,000 a month. And Katie wants to come in, as opposed to going, I don't have any room, Katie, you're out. I'm going to go, well, we're pretty full up, Katie. I can get you in, but it's $1,500 a month. And she's going to do one of two things. She's going to go yes or no. If she says no, well, I'm right back where I started in the first place. If she says yes, well, guess what? I get to go to one of you guys, whoever my least favorite is. Obviously, Isabel. Wait, is she here? I don't want to talk about her if she's here. Oh, crap. She's not in the room. I'll pick on Alicia. Obviously. Oh, she is here. Okay. Obviously, Isabel's my least favorite. So I'm like, hey, Isabel, prices are going up, inflation, blah, blah, blah. It's $1,500. She's going to say one of two things. Maybe she says yes. I'm like, son of a biscuit. I can't get anyone to quit. I just start going up on price until somebody quits. God bless America, or everybody's raised. And then I go back to Katie and be like, woo, Katie, I screwed this pooch. It's 2,000. And we can repeat all day long. So it never is a waiting list. It's always raise prices. Always raise prices, because prices are just based on supply and demand. The best example I use are if you are a professional speaker, the top professional speaker out there that's not a celebrity makes about 20 grand a keynote. A celebrity that's an awful speaker but is well known can make $50,000 a keynote. It has nothing to do with the quality of the speech or their ability to do their job. It has to do with supply and demand, because a celebrity is a celebrity and has this much demand, he can charge more money. So don't get up in your head about that's not fair, it's not right, blah, blah, blah. As long as you're being honest with your people about what you're going to do and what you're going to charge and they're happy, it's fair and it's right. So always honestly, it pisses me off when people don't do that, right? Because as a person with money, I'm like, if there's a limited amount of supply of something, how do we decide who gets it? Money. We vote with our dollars. This is more important to me. I will pay more than that guy. So obviously it's more important to me. Allow people to vote with their dollars. Don't just be like, well, Katie's been with me for a year, so maybe she doesn't even like me or give a crap that she's here. I'm going to force her to vote with their dollars and go, it's more money. And she says, oh, it's not worth it to me then. Great. Well, now Izzy's the better next client. And she's like, happy to do it. You see what I'm saying? So never have a waiting list. Always raise prices. You're basically a waiting list is just, I have more demand than supply. And the way you fix that is you raise prices, decreases demand, because that's decreasing demand by higher prices is much easier than raising supply. And by the way, if you have money, you can raise supply by hiring other people. Does that make sense conceptually?
Yeah.
Okay. So raise prices, start hiring people. Because again, you are a finite resource. There's only so many hours in a day. There's an infinite amount of employees out there that can work for you. Okay. Next, I finished module 2.0, but I don't know how to limit my clients' access to me since I'm the main, if not the only cleaner. It's still the same thing. Even when I was only coach here, I still said, here's what you can call me. Here's what you can do. It's not like here's my cell phone, call me 24/7. So just say, I'm going to answer emails, or you choose how you'd like them to communicate with you, and say, that's all the time. You guys, you have full access to me here, right? Got a beautiful beach out there. I'm ignoring that. I'm here with you guys. After this call, I'm going to be totally into the beach and ignore you guys. And you guys are like, I don't care because I'm getting what I need, right? So you just have to set boundaries. And once or twice a day is more than enough to get back with your clients. We are not ER doctors where like gunshot wound needs to be handled now. Whatever their problem is, it can wait till, 12 to 24 hours, depending on how long between calls. So that's just going to have to be okay with them. All right. Should I get a second phone for the business? Well, if your first phone is a cell phone, then no, you shouldn't get a second phone. You should get a business phone number for sure. And it could be a Google number that just goes to your phone. But the reason you're like, why would I separate it then? Because then you can direct the Google number wherever you want. Once I've got your cell phone, it's very hard for me to switch numbers. But if you have a Google phone directed to your phone, you can direct it to the answering service, to whomever you want. So yes, I would recommend everyone have not anything going to your cell phone for business. And then last, how do I go about optimizing dealership contract? The COGS are high, but I don't want to work with them in the long run. Nothing. Just again, that I would let that sit for a month or two. Let's get some other clients. Let's get some employee. That would be not my top priority.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. I was writing down. Could you please repeat that?
Yeah. How do I go about optimizing the dealership contract and again, 55% cost of goods sold for a company that's, half a third of your gross profit ain't great, but it's not on fire. Yeah. Like by the end of the year, we want that thing sorted. But right now I have two priorities. If I'm you and I'm like, I can only focus on so many things. What do? Hire people. Cause right now you're cleaning and that's the least valuable part of your time. Get the contracts that you want and raise prices. So sorry, I said 2, 3. And actually not even that order. Hire cleaners, actually not in that order. Raise prices first. And all these are simultaneously, but in terms of importance within the simultaneous actions, raise prices first, get cleaners second, and not second. All these should be happening together, but priority first, raising prices, priority 2, getting cleaners, priority 3, getting new good clients. Then priority 4, and like a month or two when you're like, okay, now I'm at 7, 8 grand, 10 grand. My margin is way higher than it was before. Now I can start raising prices on the guys that, that 55% cost of goods sold that currently is a lot of your revenue.
Okay. I like it. Awesome.
Cool. All right. The big thing is, this is probably, I'm happy to tactical with you all you want, but the 80% of where you're stuck, I think Carlos is more, that's the mindset part with Janelle. So what your beliefs and getting overwhelmed, just helping yourself think in a better way. So I would double down on your mindset work. I'll help you tactically, but I just think you're pretty smart and you're getting the tactical side. So I'm going to be about 20% of the value for you right now, Janelle, and helping you organize your thoughts and not stress out and overwhelm yourself is going to be more valuable.
Awesome. Yeah. Wonderful. Well, this was fantastic. Thank you.
Cool. And by the way, Carlos, the reason I'm so good at this kind of problem is I'm the same insane. I've got ADD. I'm all over the place. I get overwhelmed. It took me 20 years to beat that crap out of my own self. And it's still not gone. It's just to a part that serves me as opposed to burns my business down. So I get you, brother. No judgment, my friend.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
My pleasure, man. And on top of that, he still has time to dress and look sharp. Look at the man.
Well, here we are at the end of the podcast and you made it. Great job. I've got a little bonus for you for sticking through with me. But like I mentioned before, if you got value out of this podcast and you want to show a little love, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Spotify, wherever the heck you're listening to this thing. Share it with a friend. Share the love. And as a special thank you for those of you that stuck with me to the end, how about I give you my personal phone number so we can text? It's a great way for me to get to know you, your business, your goals personally. So shoot me a text now, 602-932-6431, 602-932-6431. I am the only one who responds to these texts, and I will personally respond to everyone I possibly can as long as this number is manned. Don't know how long we're going to keep this at the end of the podcast, so grab it now, 602-932-6431. Give me a text, say hey, can't wait to meet you.